Alright. Alright. Hopefully the audio balance is okay here. That looks okay, that looks okay, that looks okay. But then my internet itself looks a little bit all over the place. Let's hope that doesn't cause any issues. Right, hello ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. We're going to be playing some Heavensward story content today, and in fact we are going to be doing, and let's hope this works. Yeah, there we go. It's almost like I'm pseudo-professional, or I'm learning as I go. Today we're doing patch 3.1. As goes light, so goes darkness. In the wake of the Warrior of Light's return from Azizlar, the nation of Ishgard trembled, the faith of her people shaken to its very core. Quite a few things introduced in 3.1. A reasonably short section of main story quests, from what I can remember. The Void Arc, which is the kind of 24-man raidy stuff for Heavensward, which I did not do. Saint Marcian's Arboretum, which I did not do. No, I did do. What am I on about? Yes, I did Saint Marcian's Arboretum several times actually, which is because it's got bees and sproutlings and these swamp thing-like things and bears with flowers on their heads, which as far as I'm aware is still not actually explained. Plus some fancy new gear to tide us over. I can't remember actually what belonged to what from that. There was also Farah Sirius Hard, where we start off at the top and I believe work our way down into the depths of the dungeon. The Vanu Beast Tribe quests were introduced in 3.1. They're all right. The Diadem was an attempt at a different kind of content for people. I never went there. Although there was some kind of cool looking gear that you could get from it. The Minstrel's Ballad version of the Singularity Reactor was, from what I'm told, pretty challenging, but again, didn't do that. Lords of Vermilion was introduced at the Gold Saucer, something for you to do with your combat pets. A lot of people hated this because they thought it took away from development time from other content. They weren't massively happy about that. A couple of new mini games were introduced in the Gold Saucer as well. There were some adjustments to the Duty Finder. You could actually queue for certain extreme primals rather than having to use Party Finder. Some new hairstyles for people, including the afro, which a lot of people were very much looking forward to. Some of the old 2.x mounts learnt to fly, including the horses and the Magitech armour. And in 3.15, the animal weapons were introduced, which is the new relic weapon for Heavensward, and the St. Endelium's Scholasticate quest, which are a series of kind of side story missions, a little bit like the Hildebrand ones were, but with a different set of characters. Although there is some crossover if you did do the Hildebrand stuff. So that is that. And yeah, we don't have a huge number of quests in 3.1, so we're going to crack on with it. If you're watching this straight after the end of, I think it was episode 11 in the previous, that's the wrong Ethernet, in the previous series, so the 3.0 storyline, you'll notice that I have been and done a couple of things. I went and did the Dark Knight quests to get us sorted to level 60. So we've got Carve and Spit, and we've got Soul Survivor. You'll also notice I'm wearing this sparkly armour. I'm not actually. I'm wearing the same stuff as before, but I've glamoured it. You get this. The antiquated chaos stuff, item level 200, you get that in a coffer for completing your level 60 quest. But I did go and get the augmented Shire Greatsword. I used pretty much, did I use all of them? Yeah, I used all of my poetics to go and get the 270 upgrade, because that will actually last you till 63, 64-ish, something like that. So it's a worthy upgrade. It does have this bloody stupid hill though, which I'm not a huge fan of, but whatever. Okay, so let us go and see. Ooh, it's a torso for unlock. Gods of Eld. A stranger came calling. I have the feeling that's probably for the extreme primals. Oh, I've also been and picked up some of the dungeon quests for level 60. We're not going to do those. What we are going to do is talk to your boy Alphino, who is going to furnish us with some food. Alphino wishes to share the latest developments in the search for the missing scions. Fortuitous timing as always. Tataru was about to brief me on the search for our missing comrades. If you'd be so kind then. Absolutely. You'll be pleased to hear that Real and his men have been making excellent progress. You remember how Flamin helped me to escape the Crystal Braves in Limsa, only to then disappear? Well, according to Real, she crept aboard a ship bound for Raz-at-Han, where she's been hiding ever since. He assures me that it won't be long before we're reunited. As for Ida and Papalimo, the remains of their link pearls have been found, and in Pearl Lane of all places. Real thinks they must have disposed of them after escaping from the Royal Promenade. So the last time we saw Ida and Papalimo, they were on the Royal Promenade, and there were a lot of Crystal Braves and Brass Blades. This was just after we got out of the kind of audience chamber, after Raban had his arm cut off, etc., etc. So it was very much in the heat of the moment. They stuck behind to enable our initial escape. Yes, that would make sense. They could not risk being eavesdropped upon by our betrayers. We were all but certain they fled the city shortly after, though we still don't have a clue where they went. I see. We do find out where they went a good chunk later on, I think. And what of Thancred and Minfilia? I'm afraid I've nothing new to share about those two, but it's not all doom and gloom. The good news is we've enlisted the services of a Charlayan scholar, one of the students of Baldessian, to aid in the search, who should be arriving any day now. One of the students, you say? I should very much like to meet this scholar, if time permits. But first, we must attend to a more pressing matter. Sir Emric has summoned the two of us for a private audience. The messenger did not specify what he wished to discuss, only that it was urgent. Assuming you have no objections, I suggest we proceed to the congregation forthwith. And maybe we can meet with this scholar afterwards? Agree? I'm not given a choice here. In that case, I think I'll return to the Forgotten Knight for now. Things are liable to fall apart if I'm gone too long, you know. Totoro once again ingratiating herself with the locals. She is pretty much the hub about which this game proceeds. Forgotten Knight. I have a feeling there might be some voice acting in this next cutscene. The Lord Commander is within. That's handy since he's expecting us. Hi.
Thank you for coming. I wish to speak with you both in a place where privacy was assured.
We quite understand. What was it that you wished to discuss?
With my father's passing, the seat of the Archbishop lies vacant. And so, in accordance with canon law, I have assumed his responsibilities. I should stress that this is a temporary measure. It was never intended that the Lord Commander of the Temple Knights serve in this capacity indefinitely.
But they've got no political hierarchy to fall back on with the Church in a certain kind of disgrace.
Quite the opposite. The statutes specify that I should surrender my powers as soon as a conclave of the senior clergy and the high houses have named a new archbishop.
But are they going to do that after the truth of the Church has been revealed?
But in light of recent events, that would not seem appropriate.
I confess I did not expect you to divulge quite so much quite so soon. The details of the Archbishop's plans, perhaps, but the true origin of the war and all it entails?
It's a bold move.
I too had concerns. But when the Warrior of Light is witnessed returning to the capital upon the back of a dragon, one's options are rather limited.
Yeah, we did kind of force that issue, didn't we?
Mayhap I could have concealed certain details, but for how long? And at what risk? Should the truth have come to light in the meantime, how would the people have viewed my silence? After 1,000 years of lies and secrecy, I could not well abuse their trust and hope to be believed. The time for deception has passed.
Yes.
I only wish the people agreed. That some would deny the truth I had anticipated, but not this many. And among the few who acknowledged that my father had to be stopped, no small number question our methods.
Well, there's always going to be dissenting voices.
If they suspect a coup, it will not be long before some turn to violence.
It has already begun, and that on both sides. Men and women of the cloth are being harassed in the streets. Some have even been assaulted in the Broom.
Not really surprising though, considering the zealotry and the cries out for, oh, he's a heretic from the Church. It's no wonder that ordinary people are seeing this as the Church having lost its power and lashing back.
Hilda and her people have formed a watch to help us maintain order. But such measures will not prevent the unrest from spreading.
For all our talk of peace, the people remain frightened and confused. For their sake, we must bring the Dragonsong War to a definitive end.
Indeed.
And we should be glad to help you, Sir Emmerich. But what precisely would you have us do?
We wish to treat with the dragons of Annex Shrine. To that end, I would trouble you for an escort and an introduction.
Well, we can manage that.
Annex Shrine? You would speak with Vidofnir then?
We must needs open a dialogue between our peoples. Acting as my representative, Lucia will extend an invitation to their leader, that she might visit us here in Ishgard. Were she still with us, I would of course have beseeched Isel's assistance in this matter. But as she is not, I must ask that you aid us in her stead. Will you do us this favor?
Yeah. nodding.
Thank you, my friends.
We shall do what we
Lucia,
can.
I leave the rest to you.
He's got such pretty hair.
In the wake of the Archbishop's fall, the nation of Ishgard trembled, the faith of her people shaken to its very core. For 1,000 years had they fought and died, certain of the justice of their cause, only to be told that their holy war was born of the sins of their forefathers. What then for those brave men and women, thus stripped of their righteousness but to despair, to deny the truth and decry its speakers? And what then for those whom they defamed but to hope on, to have faith in a brighter tomorrow? A tomorrow in which man and dragon might live together in harmony, then as distant as the very stars in the heavens. Yet while we dared to hope, deep within his lair the enemy lay, gathering his strength.
Oh, Nidhogg.
Nidhogg, now possessed of his 2 eyes and the body of the Azure Dragoon, prizes to which he had laid claim at the very hour of the hero's triumph.
Just a bit of a recap for the ending of 3.0 if you'd forgotten it in 3 or so months in between that and this.
As desperately
patch.
as we sought the solace of peace, the great worm craved the misery of war. Nor was he alone in his misbegotten desire.
I know little of the lands these dragons call home, this Annex Shrine. Had you not agreed to escort me, the coming journey would seem a far more daunting prospect. I confess, I myself once shuddered at the thought of it, yet even the longest journey begins with the first step, does it not? Ah, but before we set forth, Demajen and I must needs inform my comrade of our plans. Very well, I shall see to my preparations. Then let us go and bid farewell to Tataru. Tataru probably already knows that we're going somewhere. He's basically psychic. So, what was your secret meeting all about? I'm all ears. He really is all ears. A diplomatic mission to Annex Shrine, you say? Well, I suppose that does take precedence. But should a meeting with Vidofnir happen to end early, you might consider rendezvousing with Ishtola in Idleshire. She'll be there to receive our guest. Don't get me wrong, your meeting with the dragons is terribly important and everything, but this scholar just happens to be... Time permitting, as I said. We shall endeavour to join Ishtola, but if we cannot, pray pass on our regards. Let's be off. We've kept the first commander waiting long enough. A little bit rude of Alphino there, to be honest. You are ready then? Good, so am I. All of the quests from this level out give us 16,740 XP. apart from a couple, I think, towards the end. No, I'm lying. It's the gil amount that changes. The path is long but known to us. From Falcon's Nest we shall cross the Western Highlands and make for Tailfeather in the Dravanian Forelands. There we can stop to rest and replenish our supplies. Questions? If not, then the stables await. Fortunately, just like we did with Ishtola, there are a few steps that we have to go through, but it's nothing massive. Shrink that down a bit. Ooh. Royal Levin's up. The Cool Fate boss is up. I've never done this. Cool Regina. I didn't realise it was this low level. I thought it was a level 61. If we had a healer here, we could probably do this. So we've got a red mage, a paladin, and some chocobos. And is that a marauder? Oh, that's another Dark Knight apparently. What weapon is he using? Just realised we haven't got any of our buffs up. Not a lot of time left to do this fight. Oh wow, here. Hey, we paralyse. Lovely. Well, we're definitely not going to be killing the actual boss. Yeah, I mean, this is a proper... Oh, shit. I assume you can't actually finish the fate unless you kill the queen herself. Cool looking though. We shall continue with the main story quest in a moment. You do still get, even if you don't complete the fate, you get rewards. Ugh, paralysis. Minutes. Oh, we did get it. I've got a courage on a horn. Interesting. Somebody else has already got him. Sweet. Okay. Sort that. I always imagined that the first time I set foot upon Ravanian soil would be at the head of an army, and here I am, ready to treat with the brothers and sisters of mine enemies. Full well do I know how difficult it can be to set aside the past. Though it was I who first proposed recruiting Gazelle to our cause, I questioned the wisdom of my words almost as soon as I'd uttered them, and for a long time after that. Here was a woman with the blood of innocence on her hands, men, women, children, all slain in the name of the implacable Lady Arsad. Yet she acknowledged her misdeeds and agreed to join us in common cause. At our side she fought in service to the greater good, even unto her dying breath, and while that does not absolve her of her sins, I hope that one day she will be remembered not merely as a heretic, but as a misguided soul who dreamt of peace. You ask much, Master Alphino, yet who can say what might come to pass should our negotiations bear fruit? Yes. Yes, of course. We must press on to our next shrine, if you will follow me. One thing that I do feel would benefit the dialogue sections that aren't voice acted is, just like in the older Final Fantasy games, a little portrait rather than the name of the character, an actual little portrait of the people, and have them alternate when people are speaking, so it becomes very clear who is saying what. Because I do feel that that is a little bit lacking when it comes to 14's UI. I'm sure somebody must have suggested it before, but maybe I will go and add my voice to the forums at some point. Because it is difficult, especially when the box appears in the same place every time. So here we have Alex Shrine. And here's Vidofnir. You are ever welcome here, friend of Izel. But this one, I do not know. Pray, forgive us this unannounced visit, Vidofnir. May I present to you Lucia, first commander of the Temple Knights of Ishgard and our trusted friend. It is an honour to meet you, Vidofnir. I am come as an envoy of Sir Emeric, Lord Commander of the Temple Knights and acting leader of the Holy See. Indeed. You may speak, knight. For 1,000 years, man and dragon have been locked in an endless cycle of bloodshed and sorrow. To our shame, we long believed your kin to be the architects of this war. But now we know the truth, that King Thordan and his Knights 12 did willfully betray and murder the great worm Ratatoska, shattering the peace between our peoples. For 1,000 years, our leaders conspired to conceal this truth, a truth which was at last laid bare by the Warrior of Light, the Azure Dragoon, and Izael. Alas, a deception so intricately wrought cannot be undone in a moment, and our people labour to accept the truth. After an eternity of war, who would dare to dream that peace could at last be within our grasp? Yet dream we must, as Izael once did, and we must make that dream a reality, as she could not. We humbly beseech you, Vidofnir, join hands with us in friendship once more, before the eyes of my people in Ishgard. A most unexpected invitation. I have heard your request, knight. However, I cannot yet give you mine answer. May I ask why? This matter concerns my sire, that's Hraesvelga. He must needs be consulted. Moreover, the Nath grow bold even as they did before, and I would not leave my people at the mercy of the swarm. Then we will wait. After 1,000 years at war, we shall not give up on peace for want of patience. Ha! Fear not, knight. I shall have mine answer within thy lifetime. So soon? My humble thanks. I shall bear your words to my lord forthwith, until we meet again. Given the circumstances, I'd say that went rather well. To be frank, I'm surprised our proposal was not rejected outright. Whether anything will come of it remains to be seen, however. Perhaps I should take this opportunity to speak with some of the other dragons. But you need not wait for me. The return journey holds no fear for me now. Well, if you have no further need of our services, we shall continue on to Sharlayan. We hope to welcome a scholar who has agreed to aid us in the search for our missing comrades. then I pray your journey is as swift and as uneventful as ours was. And thank you again for sparing the time to assist us even when such grave matters remain unresolved. I can think of no graver matter than a 1,000-year war, one which our friends gave their lives to see ended. Suffice it to say, I would willingly make 1,000 such journeys to ensure that their sacrifice was not in vain. Of that, I have no doubt, Master Alphino. I only hope the fates will not hold you to your word. Alphino is eager to set out for Charlian. Ooh, look. So, it would seem we have the time to greet this scholar after all. How delightful. I shall be interested to hear how she means to go about finding Minfilia and Thancred. I can only assume she is privy to some new investigative technique. In any event, our first order of business is to rendezvous with Ishtola in Idleshire. I am having to force myself to pronounce it Idleshire. My brain wants to say Idleshire, because that's what I always called it. But it should be Idleshire as in idyllic, not idyllic. Pronunciation is important, yo. Hi. Ah, Demajen. It is good to see you. I confess I'd assumed your business in Alex Trine would detain you longer. Did your meeting with Vidofna go well? As well as can be expected. She must discuss Sir Emmerich's proposal with Face Valga, of course, but she seems amenable to the suggestion. What about Charlayan guest? Has she arrived yet? She has, but when I explained that you would be joining us, she asked if she might use the intervening time to explore. I agreed to meet her outside on Frontbridge. We should be on our way. Once again, I'm reminded that almost everything in Final Fantasy XIV looks better at night. I find the lighting at night to be much better and much more natural. Don't know why. Right, here we go. We've got a cutscene and stuff, I believe, coming up, and some voice acting.
I'm terribly sorry to have kept you all waiting.
You need not apologize. We arrived but a moment ago ourselves.
Alphina's face here, it's like,
Pray, allow me to introduce Kryle, who has recently come from the Charlian motherland. She has generously offered to assist us.
Oh, please, think nothing of it. A trip to Eorzea was long overdue. You must be the Warrior of Light. Yes, you certainly do look the part. A pleasure to meet you at last, miss. And who is that I spy but young Alphino Levieux himself? I dare say someone's grown an ilm or two in my absence. Or are those lifts in your boots?
We, Miss Kryle and I met at the Studium years ago. I shall forever be indebted to her for her sage guidance.
Diplomatic.
It was no small task keeping him out of trouble, believe you me. The youngest ever to enter the Studium, him and his sister, 11-year-old prodigies. Suffice it to say, social graces were not among his list of talents. Striding up to his seniors on his first day, head held high. What was it he said again?
Thank you, Kryle.
But I haven't finished yet. Would you care to attempt a more dexterous deflection?
The banter is real.
Mayhap we should save this delightful conversation for a more fitting occasion, when pressing matters do not demand our undivided attention.
A bit much, but better. I can tell you have been putting your skills to use here in Eorzea. Henceforth, I trust you will dazzle me with your eloquence at the first time of asking.
The comedy.
Right, on to more pressing matters. Finding Minfilia and the other missing scions.
I gather you have new information to share with us.
A new approach, actually. Tataru recounted the tale of your escape, and it gave me an idea. Simply put, assuming Thancred left some manner of trail when you whisked him away, as is almost always the case with teleportation magics, I am confident I can find and follow it.
Then what are you waiting for?
The wherewithal to do it. The fact is, my abilities aren't quite up to the task. Not in themselves, anyway. If I had Master Matoya's crystal eye, on the other hand...
Then let us all call on her forthwith. I think it best that you explain your plan to her in person.
Because we don't want to be the one to break the news. Now, Matoya was reasonably keen to help us when it came to the building of the etheric ram, so that we could enter Atis La, because we just had to go and fetch a book for her. Oh, it's nice that it actually teleports you out into the right zone as well. You don't need to guide yourself. Yes, whilst Matoya was reasonably keen to help previously, she didn't actually have to give up anything personal, I suppose. Oh, hello. This time, however, we may find her slightly less amenable to the idea. More balls! Great more balls, in fact. Great more balls of fire. Morball Man. A reference to the Marlborough Man. You did say we were headed for a cave, did you not? Because I certainly don't see a cave nearby. Is Master Matoya meeting us on the way or something? Right, just before we actually do this, I'm going to go and stretch my poor achy legs. The joys of being tall. Right. Okay, so a couple of things to do. First of all, let's kill some frogs. how many do we need? 2. Obviously they are much easier to kill with that 270 weapon. Reasonable chunk of EXP. Okay. The prospect of meeting the famous Master Matoya seems to have set Kryle thinking. I've heard many stories of Master Matoya, some quite flattering, others less so. Rest assured they are all true. This way, and have care where you tread. Bum 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 bum.
Oh, is that trouble I smell? Or did you forget to wipe your boots on the way in?
My boots are probably covered in frog.
Forgive us, Master Matoya. We will be sure to wipe them on the way out. And may I say how glad I am that age has not yet deprived you of your senses.
That's snark.
Ever so quick-witted, aren't we? To the detriment of your manners. Well, out with it then. What do you want?
Pray, allow me to introduce myself, Master Matoya. I am Kryle, of the students of Baldessian. I hope you will excuse our unannounced visit.
Baldessian, you say? Ah, yes. The old coot set up shop on the Isle of Val, didn't he?
Regrettably, our Order's headquarters and the Isle itself were obliterated by a magic of immense power. I have the blessing of light to thank for my own preservation.
Yes, Kryle has the echo.
Kryle, you too possess the Echo.
Well, yes, of course I do. Our Order is devoted to uncovering the mysteries of Hydaelyn and interpreting her will, particularly through the study of her gift to us. It was in the course of these studies that I met and subsequently befriended Minfilia. She and I have rather a lot in common.
Including choice of really quite weird and silly outfits.
I had no idea.
That's because
You
you're
weren't
idiots.
supposed to. Not that I wanted to deceive you, you understand, but precautions had to be taken.
Yes, that's all well and good, but you still haven't told me why you're here.
The students of Baldessian are gone, and there is naught I can do to change that. But the science of the Seventh Dawn can yet be restored, and my dear friend found. You have in your possession an ancient crystal of light, one you call your crystal eye. I believe I can use it to focus my abilities and locate one of the missing scions.
Interesting little tidbit of lore, the crystal eye is actually a crystal of light, of the kind that we have, and of course that Kryle will be able to use as one of the chosen of Hydaelyn, because she possesses the echo.
And there I was, thinking you might want to make use of my years of experience. Oh, wait here.
Oh, actually, is this the one that she doesn't... Oh no.
Did I ponder the nature of this crystal and its familiar radiance? But never did I suspect it was a crystal of light.
I think it's one of the other quests to do with Matoya that she's not quite so willing to help.
On the cusp of an umbral calamity, souls blessed with the power of the Echo invariably appear. To aid these, her chosen warriors, Hydaelyn bequeaths to each a slither of her strength in the form of a crystal of light.
Keep in mind that we have 6 of them.
But as her strength wanes, so too does the potency of her gifts. This crystal, born of an earlier era, is infused with a power far greater than those of this age.
You could travel the length and breadth of the land and not find a crystal even a fraction as pure. Its value is beyond measure, as are the risks inherent in its use.
No two manifestations of the Echo are alike. I, for example, can converse with beings of every shape and size, excepting beasts, contrary to what others would have you believe. Language has nothing to do with it, of course. Rather, I am sensitive to the whispers of the soul. Their intent, their very essence even, the traces of which served to guide the elementals to Y'shtola. Far-fetched though it may sound, I believe that with your crystal eye, I may be able to pick up where they left off and follow the remaining trail to Thancred. That is, if I have your permission.
Well, the poor sod's not going to find himself. So, as long as you don't drop it or take it out of my sight, you may do with it what you will.
Don't drop it.
Thank you, Master Matoya.
Krile is much more diplomatic than the rest of us.
Then let us begin.
And now we're going to get some comedy.
From the Black Shroud, the trail continues to the north and west, towards a mountain, the foot of Som Al. It was a near thing, but he was not deposited within the rock. I think.
The hunters of Tailfeather know those lands well. I say we begin our search there.
At least they kind of said goodbye to her this time. So, we are believing that Thancred is somewhere in the Dravanian Forelands. Doing that. Were I to find myself in an unfamiliar wilderness, my first instinct would be to seek out signs of civilization. Ordinarily perhaps, but in his wounded state he may not have wished to risk contact with strangers or unknown allegiance. Yet even had Thancred chosen to remain in the forest, the hunters would surely have stumbled across his trail. Tailfeather doesn't strike me as an isolated outpost, though. Merchants and traders pass through reasonably regularly, do they not? In which case we'll need to provide a more detailed description when we question the locals. Fear not, Krile. I've already prepared several sketches of Thancred for that very purpose. This is impressive. You drew him from memory. A skill I acquired some years ago for reasons I no longer remember. I propose we split into 2 pairs. Miss Joe and I will inquire at the outlying encampments, while Demajen and Krile question the residents of Tailfeather. Afterwards we shall regroup near Lothar's Vath and share our findings. Assuming there are no objections, let us be about it. do we get the sketch in our inventory? My, he certainly has matured, hasn't he? Hard to imagine he was once a boy who practiced drawing for hours to impress young ladies. Anyway, we'd best get started. Find me when you finish making your rounds. We don't get to actually see it. Searching for a friend of yours? Let's have a look then. No, I ain't seen them around, sorry. There's a whole long quest line with those two. Master Shop. What's that you got there? A sketch? Can't say another face. You say he's something of a warrior? I heard a tale the other day about a Highland vagabond who brought down a bandersnatch by himself, and with style. Why, they tell you it was dancing with the beast like it was the bell of a bleeding bull. Sound like your man? Very much so, yes. A Highland man? Well, not exactly rare, you know. Could you be more specific? I did spot this one bloke a while back. Didn't get a good look at his face, but it could have been him. This was beyond the forest, as I recall, along the river to the west of Tailfeather. I remember thinking he wasn't much of a hunter. The lad was making no effort to cover his tracks, see? That and he was carrying an axe instead of a bow. So, we may have a lead on Thancred. Finished? In that case, I think we've learned everything we can here. Let's see what the others have found out. Some owl. And once again, we've got dust storms. Small talk. My apologies for our late arrival. We thought it best to question as many hunters as we could. Many have made camp in inaccessible locations, ideal for hunting game, not so receiving visitors. Nevertheless, that time proved well spent. There have been countless sightings of an exceptionally capable Highland hunter with whom no one is familiar. Though none chanced to see the man's face, his height and build matched Thancred's description, as does his fighting prowess. So, you've heard the same tales. Be that as it may, we may yet want for conclusive proof. Excuse me. Mayhap this is unrelated, but I heard a curious tale regarding a Vath trader. He came to Tailfeather in search of garments fit for a man of refinement, which seemed a rather curious description for one of his kind. You are implying that Thancred sent a Vath to market in his stead? Why would he not go himself? Well, if you recall, you yourself emerged from the live stream as naked as your name day. 'Tis a scene I shall never forget. Is it now? Well, I was pleased to see you. I mean, it was a simple statement of fact. It stands to reason that Thancred found himself in the same predicament. Yes, she was completely naked. In any case, if he had dealings with the bath, they should be able to tell us, no? Quite right, Quile. Quite right. Yeah, we get both of those. A little slow, a little late. Seems to call this quest quite long. Well, what are we waiting for? For all we know, Thancred could be waiting for us in Lothas Vath. We must go and see the Vath right away. Come along, everyone, come along. Alphino is very eager to forget that little conversation. Click, click. Great hunters, we welcome you once more to Lothas Vath. What do you seek this day? We seek a man with whom we are told you may have had certain dealings. How curious! The hunters tire of goodly sport and pursue mortal prey. No, he's not prey, but a friend long missing. Good. He is a friend to the Vath as well, one with whom we have traded many times. Truly? And you are quite certain it was this man? There is no doubt. The flesh and clothed in skins came to us from Som Al, lost and weak. He offered meat and hides in trade, and in exchange we tended his wounds. He brought us much flesh, so skilled a hunter he was. Much flesh. When he asked for garments, we were glad to provide them. And where is he now? Gone to Lost Athnath, not long ago, when he heard the One Mind had summoned our god once more. Ravana is returned. Vidofnir did say that the Nath had grown as before, but what could Thancred hope to accomplish by himself? Honoured Elder, we thank you for your help. Would that we could repay this kindness before we depart, but we must hasten to our comrade's side. Go, great hunters, lest the Nath claim him as a sacrifice. Ooh. I'm just reminded what happens next. The 3.x story is about to kick off. At least one chunk of it is. That thick stower, yeah. It's always nice to shout out the locations of hunts just in case somebody needs them. Quite a few things to hunt in this zone, actually. Yeah, some of the B ranks can take a while to find, especially considering the size of these zones. Just want to double check something. 1 second. Just want to double check something. 1 second. Yeah, the audio balance seemed weirdly off. That will probably have echoed straight through the stream, but never mind. Professional YouTuber. And Twitch. And whatever. Right.
Who else could be? Thancred! It could be Thancred! We must hurry!
It's not Thancred. It's the Warriors of Darkness. Ooh. Echo time.
This day, we reclaim the reins of history. This day, we rid ourselves of the Ascians forever!
You'll notice the reins of history is what Thordan, the Archbishop, was talking about. Reclaiming the reins of history.
Fools playing at heroes, all of you. Is this how you believe you can save your world?
We can and we will, Ascian. You shall see. Or perhaps you will not! So you are the Warrior of Light, the savior of Eorzea.
They've all got the echo.
It's a wonder you didn't come sooner, what with the primal and all. Lost a step, have we?
Have care. The ether moves strangely around him.
It would seem we share a common enemy. Mayhap you would tell us who you are.
Shall we show them?
Clang! I don't think so. Thancred. Nice little bit of motion capture. Woohoo!
Not very sporting of you to interrupt. But so be it. Mark well our faces, warrior of light. For we are the warriors of darkness. Walkers of a different path. And we shall meet again.
And from this verse, you are supposed to assume, I believe, that the Warriors of Darkness are the counterpoints, if you like, that they are the opposites, that they are evil. But that's not actually the case. I love the fact that they had her cast teleport and everybody else teleported
Warriors
out with them.
of Darkness? Really?
Ah, Thancred. He's changed a bit.
Thancred! Are you all right?
He's seen better days.
Pleasantries can wait. I'd rather not be here when the Nath arrive. Agreed?
Yep. Do-do-do. Let's find out what's happened to him.
Suffice it to say, our reunion was not at all as I pictured it. Waiting until the last instant to join the fray. 'Tis plain you have not lost your appetite for the dramatic.
My appetite for the dramatic? Have you forgotten the circumstances of our parting? The heroic last stand, the tunnel filling with light, and then... Had I known you intended to use forbidden magics to deliver me to some god's forsaken wilderness, I would have thanked you in advance.
Thancred.
If nothing else, you might have warned me that I would emerge from the live stream in the all-together.
Yes. Somebody had a great time composing this particular piece of art. I'm sure that someone somewhere has this set as their desktop wallpaper.
Eventually, I managed to fashion knives from some obsidian I found, and set about hunting for meat and hides. Given that I'm not all that skilled in leatherworking, it's probably for the best that I met the Vath before I was reunited with you.
So you were the fleshling clothed in skins of whom the storyteller spoke?
A description which fit me as ill as the skins themselves. Happily, I was able to trade with the Vath for garments better becoming a man of refinement. From them, I learned of Ravana, and of the great warrior who had once laid him low.
Wonder who that could be. Oh, that'd be us.
And thence did you conclude that were you to track the Primal's movements, it would surely bring you into contact with the Scions once more.
Good plan, really.
It seemed a reasonable assumption. I could think of no one else with your enthusiasm for slaying beastmen gods. Until now, that is.
Yes.
Ah, yes. The self-proclaimed Warriors of Darkness. 'Tis only fitting that they stand in opposition to the Warrior of Light, I suppose.
But if so, why do they have the
leaders
echo?
passed, if only for a moment. They were confronting a man in black. An Ascian, I think.
If these warriors are capable of doing battle with Ascians and Primals both, they must be possessed of powerful protection. Protection not unlike the Echo.
Well, they have the Echo. They are champions of Heidelin. The question is, what happened to them? Ooh, spawned into a fate. Alphino is lost in thought, doubtless ruminating on the implications of your encounters with the Warriors of Darkness. Blessed with the power of the Echo and driven to put down primals, despite his declaration that they walk a different path, I struggle to see how their goals conflict with ours. Nor is that the only oddity. I find it passing strange that such exceptional individuals should have wholly escaped our notice until now. Surely we would have heard of rumours and attempted to recruit them to our cause. I recall no such adventurers, and I would not soon forget their like, nor would any of us, I think. Although I suppose, if people think back to the stuff right at the start of 2.0, the reference to the Warriors of Light being forgotten after the calamity, I wonder whether that's anything to do with it. One of our primary duties was to scour the city-states for promising candidates, which is how Thancred found Demajen. Ah, the memories. It seemed like only yesterday that you slew your first primal. Speaking of which, I had the distinct impression that it was not the first time that band of merry men and women had killed a god. That dialogue obviously all changes depending on which city-state you came from. I labour to believe that a band of preternaturally gifted adventurers has been travelling the land slaying primals without our knowledge. It would imply gross negligence on our part. Speculation will avail us naught. There's far too much we don't know. At the present, we must needs concentrate on what we do know, namely that Lord Ravala is no more. Vidofnir must be informed. The news may render her more receptive to Sir Emmerich's invitation. Since you seem to have affairs here well in hand, I shall take my leave. Simply being in the vicinity of this colony has given me a stinking headache. If you have need of me, I shall be with Master Matoya. I would beg her assistance with the search for Menfilia. Wait, Menfilia is missing? I thought she escaped with Demajen. I shall explain on the road. Much has happened in your absence. Yeah, you can say that. About 30 hours of questing. I like the fact that it does keep teleporting us to places further or closer to our destination. I had not thought to see thee again so soon, mortal. If thou seekest the night, know that she has long since departed for Ishgard. Excuse me. My thanks, Vidofnir, but it was not for her that we came. We bring good tidings for you and yours. Lord Ravala, who had been summoned by the Nath, has once again been laid low. Truly. Once more you mortals have succeeded where mine own kind did fail. You have our deepest thanks. Would that we could take credit. The god fell by another's hand. Another? Revelation upon revelation. Regardless, it is a cause for celebration. The Nath will have no choice but to withdraw. But to another matter. I have tidings for thee as well. Regarding the Ishgardian's invitation? As promised, I have brought the matter to my sire. Hearken to his answer now. For 1,000 years have I mourned my beloved, who gave her life to forge a peace thy king betrayed. Such was my lot, until a child of Ishgard came unto me. For want of warmth she wrapped herself in a dream, yet the world will remember her deeds. For truth she fought, for justice she sinned, for redemption she sacrificed and became as light. To follow one's heart, to have faith in one's convictions, be it for weal or for woe, such is the folly and the glory of man, and of dragon. He hath entrusted the choice to us, and we have made it. We will keep faith with you who walk in the light. Then you accept Sir Emeric's invitation? Let it be known that I, Vidofnir, shall journey unto Ishgard on behalf of my people. We are honoured to receive your answer, and will convey your words to our allies without delay. It is happening, Azal. Would that you were here to see it. But alas, she is not.
Even as the Scions celebrated the return of a long-lost friend, honorable men plotted to deprive them of another. Honorable men, to whom Sir Emeric was no hero, but a scheming patricide.
No!
Honorable men who would fain wash the paving stones of foundation with the tyrant's blood. Honorable men whose knife in the dark was the spark which set the city aflame, and who sang as it burned.
Oh shit. So Emeric is not having a great deal of luck. Right, let us not keep Sir Emeric waiting. Are you quite well, Thancred? Yes, quite well. Forgive me, you've given me rather a lot to digest. This whole affair with these Guardians and the Dravanians and our friends nowhere to be found. It would seem there's no end to our troubles. We can but face them head on, one at a time. For now, we must apply ourselves to our allotted tasks and leave the others to theirs. Remember, Thancred, we found you as they found me. In time, we will find Ida and Papalimo and Minfilia as well. These troubles will soon be but a memory, on which we will look back on together. Pray do not misunderstand, I did not mean to imply that it would be otherwise. I merely wish that I had rejoined our grand adventure at one of its more triumphal moments. Despite your recent accomplishments, the mood here is less than celebratory. But I have no doubt that we will enjoy many more glorious victories soon enough, and you may rest assured that I will play my part in them to the very hilt. I know you will. So then, to the congregation. Love how that clips through my head when we're running. Hilda's here. You have returned. In this, at least, the fates are kind. Greetings, First Commander. It pleases me to inform you that Vidofnir has accepted Sir Emmerich's invitation. She has? These are glad tidings indeed. Would that the Lord Commander were here to hear them. Ah, is he otherwise engaged? Aye, sleeping off a knife to the gut. What? What happened? Will he live? The car agents tell me he will make a full recovery, but had Lord Edmund and Lord Atwell not been on hand when the assassin struck, he would not have been so fortunate. For a mercy, they subdued the fiend before he could land the telling blow. The attack was just the beginning, though. Not long after, buildings all around the sitting, including several of ours, burst into flame. Bastards caught us completely by surprise. We'd been dousing the fires, but for every one we put out, it seems like 2 more start up. Casualties are mounting, especially in the broom. 'Tis plain these fires were started by the assassin's conspirators. Until they have been rounded up, there will be no end to this. Will you help us find them? Then let us be about it. Primal accessories of fending. We'll take them, though I don't think they're any good for us. The flames are spreading. We must needs begin our investigation immediately. Witnesses must be found. Suspects must be identified. Have you been able to determine the precise locations where the fires were set? Perhaps there's a pattern? If there is, we've yet to discern it. Fires have been reported throughout the city in both the pillars and foundation. Indeed, given the size of the area affected, I think it best to divide our forces. Master Alphino, Mistress Justola, I'd have you take charge of the investigation in foundation. As you wish. Mayhap Tataru can be of assistance as well. Meaning Demajen and me get the pillars. Oh, they'll light me up there. And the question is, will the grizzled old rogue striking a pose over there be joining us? Thancred, of the Signs of the Seventh Dawn. And may I say what a pleasure it is to meet you too, my lady. I'll bet. Her name's Hilda, the Scion, eh? And they're always thinking I'd found a fellow ruffian amongst all these illustrious personages. I will remain here to coordinate the fire-quenching effort. If you learn anything of value, pray inform me immediately. That's all. Well, we could begin by sifting through charred rubble and questioning random passers-by. In my experience, every town has at least one individual who can be counted on to know things he or she should not. Oh, aye, the infamous Lord Amanelin de Fortemps, lover of women and wine, although neither care for him that much. This is a gossip for Ishgard. Just the sort of fellow I had in mind. Capital suggestion. Here with the Crozier must like making an effort to be seen, so let's go and see him. Grizzled I will accept, but old. Yes, the trip through the live stream has taken a little bit of a toll on Thancred, which is certainly referenced in Stormblood, but I can't remember how much it's referenced in Heavensward. While we're at the Crozier, oops. Just going to check to see if my retainer has brought back any extra cash. I don't think she has. No. Madeline has been standing here for ages. Well, well, if it isn't Demajen, dearest of all my friends, you're looking rather glum. Something the matter, old girl? Ah, yes, the arsons. Dreadful business that, and awfully curious, wouldn't you say? Doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it at all. Naturally, we've doubled the guard outside the manor, along with most of the other houses. Can't have the old pile going up in flames, after all. Oh, in case you were wondering why the Hoplands are washed with refugees, the lower levels of the vault have been opened to those unfortunate souls who've lost their homes. So Emmeric's orders, from what I hear. Remarkable man. Not even a knife in the ribs can keep him from his duties. Actually, old girl, if you were thinking of questioning the refugees, I should be more than happy to accompany you to the Hopland. While you conduct your inquiries, I could offer words of comfort to the distressed and despondent young maidens. Wait a moment. I know what that is. You're giving me one of your looks, aren't you? You do me an injustice, old girl. I will have you know my heart yearns for but one rose, prickly though she may be. I see you remain unconvinced. Very well. If it will help to prove the purity of my intentions, I shall gracefully rescind my offer. Now, run along and catch those arsonists. That was not entirely what I'd hoped for. Whose idea was it to come here again? Never mind. For our next stop, I suggest we divide our efforts. While you question the refugees in the Hopland, I shall investigate the locations where the fires were set. Would you be so good as to join me, Hilda? You know what? I reckon I would. Can't have you roaming about in an unfamiliar city by your lonesome, can we? You'd only get rubbed blind and left shivering in your small clothes. My lord is a gentleman of unassailable principles. To assail them, after all, one would first need to locate them. Love it. Right, we are going, if I can click the right button, to the Hoplan. Let's go talk to some refugees. Not that way, this way. The priest. Come, my brothers and sisters, there is food and shelter enough for all in the Basilica. Helene's blessings be upon you, Father. I confess, we weren't sure if we should come. There's so many unbelievable tales these days about the Archbishop and Sir Emeric and the Dravanians. Trust in your heart, brother, and pay no heed to the lies of lesser men. They seek only to lead you astray. Do you require succour as well, miss? So, the Temple Knights have begun their investigation at last. Good. This madness has gone on for far too long. Would that I could do something to aid you in your search, but I have a duty to these poor souls. Farewell. May the Fury guide your steps. There was a man with a satchel. I saw him kneeling outside the window, and then there was smoke everywhere, and it was so hot and I couldn't breathe. I don't remember how I made it out. I suppose I must have climbed. Made my arms getting better after all. So a man with a satchel. Unruffled refugee. Ours was one of the first tombs to be claimed, but I don't see how the fire began. It's only when I heard our neighbours shouting that I looked outside and saw the flames. We barely escaped with the clothes on our back. Were it not for the church's generosity, I don't know what we'd do. Where is Thancred? So the church is helping people in need. There's a couple of quests down here. I think Sky Pirates is the stuff for Void Ark etc., etc. And what's the other one there? Oh, that's for the diadem. The expeditionary stuff. There's Thancred. Ah, there you are. Anything to share? Huh. We'll require more than the muddled testimony of a traumatized girl if we were to identify the culprits. While you were questioning the refugees, we inspected the scenes of several of the fires, including one near St. Raymond's Cathedral and another near the Tribunal. For a mercy, neither structure suffered significant damage. Some might say they were spared by the grace of the Fury. Others might question how such ruthlessly efficient arsonists contrived to fail so miserably on the 2 occasions when their target was a bastion of Ishgardian orthodoxy. So only the church buildings have been saved. Nothing conclusive, of course, but it does give one cause to wonder. Alphinaud will doubtless have an opinion. Very true. Down we go. Bum, bum, bum. Where am I actually going? The broom. Gummy bears. Ooh, they've got a captive. Silence will avail you naught, sir. Ah, Demajen. I was just about to summon you. As you can see, we have detained a suspect. We found this man loitering near the remains of one of the stricken buildings. According to eyewitnesses, he was also present before the fires broke out. We wished to have words. He did not. So we insisted. Let me go, damn it! You've got the wrong man. My, but you reek of oil. And are those burns on your hands? An occupational hazard, I suppose, but tell me, does arson pay well? I'm a victim, you imbecile. Look at me. Aye, that you are, after a fashion. You should know that your pious patron has already spun us a delightful yarn about how his pet mongrel slipped the leash and set about burning half the city to the ground. Not very noble of him, I grant you, but then these highborn types really do show loyalty to their pets. In fact, he called you rabid and begged us to put you down. That's bollocks. He's the one who told me to keep going. Ah, clever, Thancred, clever. Even a sinner such as me could find salvation in the Fury's work, he said. I'd left it behind. Tried to, with all my heart. Said my prayers every day like a good man. But he came to me. He came to me. And there you have it. Hilda, won't you be so kind as to escort our friend here to the congregation? Ah, so long as you don't mind if he's limping when he gets there. I like Hilda. Hilda's cool. That was incredible, Thancred. But how did you know he'd confess? Well, I've seen his like before. A troubled soul, manipulated by men of power and wielded as a weapon. Could not be certain, of course, but given the stakes, I thought it worth the risk. And if our captive had called your bluff? Must we entertain hypotheticals? The world as it is vexing enough. Thank you, Thancred. Whether by luck or judgment, we've at last confirmed that these arsons were orchestrated by a person or persons of influence. I think it best that we now return to the congregation and discuss how best to proceed. It is quite handy, really, that we found him. I'm going to be super lazy. On behalf of the Holy See of Ishgard, I thank you all. The man you apprehended is being interrogated as we speak. Though he fell silent upon realising that we had not turned his master, he will soon tell us what he knows, one way or another. Pardon the intrusion, First Commander. Ah, Lord Artourel, are you come to see your father? He is attending Sir Emmerich in his chambers at present. I am. He bid me bring this salve. Then do not let me detain you, and thank you for your kindness, my lord. In times of trouble, every man must do his part. Would that I could do more. I love that he's still got that little nobleman's head flick from the bow. My Lord Artourel did not seem to be in the best of spirits. 'Tis little wonder, Master Alphino. His father is widely slandered, and his half-brother not yet cold in the grave. So yes, this gives us a set of 240 accessories. Oh, it does give us an upgrade for our ring, doesn't it, of course? That's good. Oh, that's my watch beeping. Time to get up and have a walkie. There's only one more quest in this patch, but it does involve a solo instance, so we should do that in a couple of minutes. Right, I have just remembered that I cleaned up my videos folder earlier, and I have the sneaky suspicion I may have accidentally deleted something that I didn't want to. No, I hadn't. Lucky. Okay. Let's bring that back up. I do kind of wish there was a way that you could shrink down voice meter. It takes up quite a lot of space. Okay. It's quite a stat difference for that 260 armor. Mind you, the 255 stuff always has lower stats if it's not HQ. The HQ stuff's got good stats. Right, we get some bits and pieces. We get the House Fortomp kite shield for this. So this is the shield that Orchefant has. We get a wind-up Orchefant, and we get some more primal accessories. As goes light, so goes darkness. This is the last quest in this particular patch in 3.1.
I do not mean to diminish our accomplishments, but until we identify the ones who ordered the fires set, our work is far from finished.
Between the various conservative and religious factions in Ishgard, I dare say there's no shortage of parties who would like to see the status quo preserved. Do any likely suspects spring to mind?
Far too many to count.
Lord Commander, your wounds.
Are healing well, thank you. Time is of the essence. Lest we forget, these men would sooner put their own city to the torch than see it change. When our enemies learn that we have apprehended their arsonist, there is no telling how they will react.
Lord Commander, an armed mob has seized control of the vault.
Oh, snap.
And now we know. Tell us what happened, sir. Spare no detail.
We were directing refugees into the Basilica, as you ordered, when all of a sudden, men brandishing weapons were all around us. It happened so fast, my lord. We had no time to respond.
Isn't that the old guy that we talked to in the Hoplon?
They've taken the refugees hostage and barricaded themselves inside the vault.
And they sent you to deliver their demands.
They, the true brothers of the faith, demand that a conclave to select the next archbishop be held forthwith. Furthermore, they declare that you, Lord Commander, are guilty of patricide and high treason, and that you must surrender yourself at once to receive of the Fury's judgment.
Yeah, that is the guy that we spoke to.
Ridiculous! I mean, do they honestly think that executing Sir Emmerich would change anything? That the truth will somehow die with him?
These fundamentalists rage against the passing of the old ways, unable to accept there can be no going back.
Is that the first time we've heard Artuel actually speak, voice acted wise? Just realised I've forgotten to put the stuff back on. Oops.
Given the fanciful nature of their demands, a peaceful resolution does not seem likely. If the hostages are to be rescued, it will be by force, I fear.
Agreed. Lucia, take a contingent of knights and establish a perimeter outside the entrance.
At once, Lord Commander.
Hilda, I need your people out in force throughout the Broom. When word spreads of the situation, the friends and family of the hostages may try to take matters into their own hands. I will not give these militants more targets. I shall lead the assault on the vault. Master Alphino, can I count on the support of the Scions?
Are you really sure that you should be leading this assault, Sir Emmerich? I think we should probably Fist punching!
We are in your debt.
I shall join you as well, Lord Commander.
Your assistance is most welcome, Lord Atwarel. To arms then, friends. Time is against us.
Yeah, Artwell is going to step up. I mean, he was a knight anyway, but compared to Urshafont, he's got some shoes to fill. Yes, so when I forgot to put the cutscene stuff back on, you mostly missed me talking, I think, about the grey-haired priest with the glasses that we saw shepherding people up from the Hoplon. I've started dabbling a little bit with some video editing software, so it's possible that I may be able to... where are we going? Yeah, so it's possible that I may be able to splice some footage in for the YouTube version of this. I shall have to play this back first and see just how much we missed. And here we get our solo duty to round off this particular patch. Listen well, we'll enter the Basilica silently via this gate. According to our latest reports, there are at least 6 hostages being held within. The numbers and readiness of the true brothers of the faith are unknown. I'm told one claimed to have served under Thornton VII. Might the same be true of the rest? Given the swiftness with which they seized control of the vault, I think it highly likely, yes, which means that they may well possess the knowledge required to turn the building's defences against us. Be that as it may, we have no choice but to press on. Lord Artwarel, you are a brave man and true, and none would dare question your honour if you chose not to risk your life in this endeavour. Are you certain you wish to join us? I am no stranger to the battlefield, Sir Emmerich. My armour will not falter, my shield will not break. Phrasing. Poor Chiffon. Helen is my witness, we will bring these fanatics to justice. Well said, my lord. Friends, follow me. Obviously this is synced down to 60 because it's all level 60 content for a while yet. Okay. Let's kick some ass. Again, while we may be synced down to level 60, our gear is far superior to what you would initially have had at this point in the expansion's lifetime. Ooh, no. Don't you dare, bitch. Okay. Bless you. The others were taken elsewhere by Sir Leonard. So this is indeed the work of the Archbishop's former servants. My God, they've sounded the alarm. This is where we normally come in. And these are actually the same enemies that we'd normally see in the vaults. Is this still looking after the... yeah.
Down with you!
So it's our job to make sure that no refugees die. No refugees or Sir Emric actually. Emric can't die. Interestingly enough, Artwell can, I seem to recall. That's 2. Is it over? They took the other cell somewhere. It all happened so quickly. I shall have all the aggro, thank you. Interestingly,
You underestimate me.
Right, now we need to go up here for a second, but we also need to come back down because there are 2 enemies over there that we can't fight yet. Not until after this cutscene's done. It says, Simeonard, lay down your arms and release the hostages and you will be shown mercy. I give you my word. Ha! The word of a heretic and kinslayer, and soon a trusted dragon. Activate the knights, which shall show the hostages the same mercy he showed the archbishop. So we need to go and deal with these. Unlike you, Sir Emric, I am a man of honour. By my hand you shall receive the Fury's judgment. So it is to be a trial then. Lord Artwell, Demajen, leave us and save the hostages. I will deal with Sir Simeonard. So we get to run back and deal with the other enemies first. Which again is quite easy in this gear. And now I seem to recall we need to go down here. Yeah, this was closed off of before. Oops. So it's down to 60% health. Right. Let's go help him out. Ooh, he's down to 50%. Oops. Thought you might be able to jump over that. You can't. Right. Let's get rid of these dumbasses first.
This knight does not yield!
Deal with the trash first. Let's finish it off. Die, you bastard. And here's the final refugee. Oh, he's a kid as well. Oh, he took melee.
Where is he? Where is he?
That bastard. Oh, I remember what happens next.
Closer!
This bit's awesome.
You have nowhere to run. Release the girl and surrender.
Surrender to whom? The blasphemer who throws wide the gates to our enemy? Who breaks bread with him and calls him brother? Ungodly swine! I would sooner die than surrender to you.
Is it godly to spill the blood of an innocent child? To burn the homes of your brothers? Tell me, priest, is that godly?
Do not speak to me of godliness, heathen! Your father's blood is on your hands, as is hers!
Whoa. But ta-da!
What? But I...
Talk about timing.
Vidafne!
Aww.
Well met, knight. Mayhap I chose an inopportune moment.
Nope, I think that was a pretty good timing.
Not at all. Pray forgive us this most unworthy reception. We are honored to have you with us, and right glad of your aid.
Fortune delivered the child unto me. I had but to receive her.
Thank you for saving me.
Thou art welcome, child.
It must be, though, if you put yourself in the people's shoes, it must be really quite strange for them after centuries of being told one thing.
Never did I think to be indebted to so unexpected a savior. But full glad am I to be so.
Friend of Izel, warrior of warriors, I had hoped to meet with thee. I bear a message from my sire.
Ooh, what's Facefelger gonna say?
From Facefelger?
Upon returning to our lands, Nidhogg's shade did sing unto his brood, and they for skies unknown did then take wing. This thou must know, for your fates are inextricably bound.
So Nidhogg's brood, Nidhogg's children, have left for somewhere, and nobody knows where.
What of Estinian? Is he truly lost to us?
Such matters are beyond my ken. I but bear my father's words. Take from them what thou wilt. Fare you well, mortals.
So it is as they say then. A great white dragon swooped down from the heavens to rescue an innocent child.
Indeed.
A most unexpected turn of events, but not an unwelcome one. The people will not soon forget this day.
Yet how will they choose to remember it, Sir Emmerich? And will these events serve to bring man and dragon closer together, or drive a deeper wedge between brothers? After 1,000 years, the world these men once knew is changing, and with ungentle swiftness to boot. Though their actions are misguided, their sentiments are only to be expected. You may be sure that others will rally to their cause.
Yeah, you can't change 1,000 years overnight.
I share your desire for a lasting peace with the Jovanians, I do. But I would not see it built on the bones of our countrymen, nor on our own. I see much of Horsefar in you, and I could not bear to mourn the passing of another son.
Lord Edmund.
Don't know what that looks supposed to be for. There, for Martorell. Concern, jealousy, confusion. It's not quite clear from the fairly limited facial manipulations that FF14 does. This has been a day of surprises, has it not? 'Tis but a pity Vidofna could not stay longer. Yes, I think it's fair to say that she timed her departure rather less well than her arrival. Well timed scarcely does it justice, but 1 moment later would have been a moment too late. Let us pray that the Ishgardians who yet harboured doubts will take these events to heart and accept the truth of Sir Emeric's words. Well, 'tis only meet that I inform Tataru of what has occurred here. If you have need of me, I shall be at Forton Manor. Allow me to accompany you. Tataru would never forgive me if I left for the Rising Stones without saying goodbye. A moment, Demajen. I wish a word. Tell me, does Thancred seem quite well to you? Something's off. So, you sense it too. A subtle change, imperceptible to most. I myself did not notice it at first, but upon closer examination I saw that his etheric flow had been irreparably disrupted. As a result, I strongly suspect that his ability to manipulate ether has been compromised. Simply put, Thancred may no longer be able to wield magics. It would do much to explain why he chose to remain within the wilderness instead of seeking us out. He would have been compelled to rely solely on traditional methods of travel, significantly prolonging his journey. And when he learned that a nearby beast tribe was making preparations to summon a primal, it may well have seemed more sensible to wait. But this is still little more than speculation. Until I have proof, pray speak no word of it. Right then. I should be on my way. Kryl may have charmed Master Matoya for now, but who will say how long it will last? Yes, Ishtola has the right of it. Something has been disrupted in Thancred, which is why he looks a little bit more gaunt, a little bit more aged, a little bit more rugged, as Hilda put it. But there's definitely something not quite right.
That Vidofnia should chance to arrive even as the girl fell. Truly, I could not have planned it better myself.
Yes, Alphino does like his theatrics and his dramatics to prove his points. Hey gang.
Ah, good. We were afraid you might have left.
No, we're still here.
A shield, my lord?
Fit for a true knight. An expression of our gratitude to you and yours, long overdue.
So you can use this for glamour.
But there is something else I would discuss ere you part. Something which cannot leave this room. My father will soon step down as head of our house.
What?
Sir Emeric was not the only one to fall under suspicion following the death of the Archbishop. There are some who believe my father complicit in a coup d'etat. Thus he intends to renounce his title to absolve our house of suspicion and secure the support of our peers.
Surely there must be another way to convince Houses Durandare and Zamail.
So I said to him. Alas, he will not budge. Ever since I was a child, I knew that I would one day succeed my father. The thought of it filled me with pride. Yet once I learned the day was at hand, my heart was filled with naught but dread.
He's still a bit of a warrior, Miss Archwell. He likes to be out there.
Our legacy is built upon the lies of our forefathers. In accepting this title, am I not perpetuating this injustice? Why should I become the next count? You sound just like him. Aye, I suspect that is what Horchefon would have said. To aid those in need. When you look on that shield, I trust you will remember his words. And should I once more find my resolve wavering, I ask that you show me the way.
That's what we do.
You were a sister to Horchefon. Will you be a sister to me as well?
It's always interesting when they voice dialogue like that, because of course I've spoken before about the fact that they need to record it twice for both genders.
Come, Emanuelaine. There's much to be done. For Father, and for Sir Emmerich, and for Ishgard.
He's not been paying any attention. I feel truly sorry for Anor.
To think we share the same blood. Pray excuse us.
Interesting that he's got
Those
slightly
were the
more
days of
respect for
promises
that.
and vows, of tentative first steps into an uncertain future. A future shaped by the choices we made, in ways we could never have foreseen. Born of good and evil, of light and darkness, and shepherded by our hand. Be it for weal, or be it for woe.
From the memoirs of Count Edmond de Fortombe, Heaven's Ward. As goes light, so goes darkness. Hold on. What's Urianger doing in the library? This is thy proof? The Gawain oracles? Apocrypha. It is a truth long forgotten, a tale of the beginning and of the path we have been set upon. Elidibus, warrior of darkness. Our fates were ordained long ago, Archon. Archon? The Garleans are no exception, nor the Triad. You know what must be done. I wonder who this could be. Oh, it even tells us. Well, everyone has their orders. The masks will attack as soon as all units are in position. The Imperials won't know what hit them. I'm fear it will be bloody. By Valgurt, it better be. That's an interesting framing. We cannot stay here forever, Ida. We have other responsibilities. I know full well what my responsibilities are, and I mean to fulfill them, every one. So it goes. House for Tomb Knights. And there we go. So that is patch 3.1. A lot of people said, well, what are we at? We're at 2 hours 25 minutes. A lot of people thought, well, that's quite short, isn't it? You know, considering people have waited 3 months or so for this content. And yeah, I mean, if you just look at the main story stuff, there's not a huge amount there in terms of length. I seem to recall though that Yoshi P, the game director, did let his team go on a bit of a holiday after Heaven's Ward release, because they put all their time into 2.0 and 2.x and then 3.0. He felt that they deserved a little bit of a break. But that being said, 3.1, as you might remember from that patch notes thing I did at the start, you know, there's the main story quest, okay. There's a 24-man raid. There are 2 new dungeons, St. Mossians and Faris Sirius. There's all the Beast Trope quest. There's the Diadem. There's the hard, or rather the extreme mode of Thordan. There's Lords of Verminion. There's a lot of the anima weapon stuff. How do you know that was in 3.15? So maybe that doesn't count. There was quite a lot in that patch. It just wasn't all directly tied to the main story. That said, the actual story itself was not really my favourite, I don't think, of the patches. I liked, you know, Vidofnir showing up at the end to save the girl, although that was reasonably easily telegraphed. The attempted assassination of Sir Emmerich was quite interesting as well. The general moving forward of the narrative, Thancred coming back, but of course I think the thing that most people were excited about was the bit actually that came after all the cutscenes there, the bit with Urianger, Elidibus and the Warrior of Darkness, and I think probably Alizé or perhaps Alphino kind of hiding in the background. I can't remember which it was, but that's a fairly significant revelation. I mean, we've seen already that Urianger has been talking to the Ascians. We've known that for a while. But the reference to the Warring Triad, who are, as we know, trapped in Aziz La, I pointed out the statues to them when we were there. That's quite interesting. The idea that Urianger could be betraying us, maybe, and the whole point and role of the Warrior of Darkness, that for me was the worthy kind of successor to the heretic stuff and the Azel stuff. The politics of it, I can see why that needs to be here, because it just wouldn't seem realistic otherwise. And the zealotry, I suppose, is something that I can kind of understand and get behind in terms of plot. But really, going forwards from this point, it is the Warriors of Darkness that I'm the most interested in seeing what they are about. And of course, to a certain extent, what the Scions are doing. We saw a little bit of Papalimo and Ida there in what looked like Little Alamigo, so they are clearly doing something with the Alamigan resistance, and that is actually referenced in hello Ruby Carbuncle, and that is referenced in 4.0, the very first 2 or 3 quests actually, if I remember correctly, when it's brought up again. They're in a very different light, and in fact 2.5, not 2.5, 3.5 and 3.6 or 3.55 or 3.5 part 2, whatever you want to call it, that is very much settling more into the plot to do with the lead up to Stormblood, as well as the tying up of certain but not all loose ends that have been introduced in this patch. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think if I was to give it a rating, I'm not really want to give patches rating, I would say that 3.1 is probably for me the weakest of the patches, and that's probably just to do with the content. I mean, I did some Mossian's Arboretum, and I did Faris Sirius, and I did do some of the Vanu Bistro quests, but I've not set foot into the Diadem, and I've not set foot into the Void Ark, so a big chunk of the content in this patch I never did. So I'd give it probably a 7.5. Because the 2 dungeons are fun, and the Vanu quests are alright, but there's as I said, there's a big chunk of stuff that I just didn't do in this patch. So there we go. That's 3.1. 2 hours 30 minutes. Not bad at all. Going to end this episode here. Thank you all for joining. If you're watching this on YouTube, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next one, where we will go into patch 3.2. What's patch 3.2 called? I've actually forgotten.